Our generation, hello 2021. A lot. First of all, social media. Because of our media personalities, we've got so many influential people, both influencing us in a good way and in a bad way, if there is anything like that. So to start with, because of our influences, you'd want to live a certain type of lifestyle based on what we see on social media. So if this person has, let's say, is driving a Mercedes, you don't really know because they don't really put out what they are doing out there. But they'll just say, okay, they'll flash these things around, and then there's the modern person, there's this person, this young girl that's just trying to grow up into being that person without knowing where that person is getting their money from. I would start by advising people to start by, let's say, establish who you are, find out what you're good at. Let's say if I'm good at, I'm a decorator for one, so if I'm good at that, how can I modify my skill? How can I be a better person? So I'd obviously start with maybe watching some YouTube videos that are in line with what I like. If let's say it's a sport you're good at, then why not? Let's perfect this. Let's perfect the skill. Yeah. I would love to use an example of the teenage age. Growing up wasn't so easy. So let's say for the other gender, you would have this group of yours, and this group smokes and whatnot, and probably the background you're coming from doesn't let you be that kind of person. But because these are your friends and these are the people that you are with 24/7, so you would want to also now succumb to that temptation of, okay, let me be part of them, so let me do this, let me do that. But then if we can grow children up developing a good self-esteem, knowing who they are, knowing when to stand for what they really want, and probably just keeping their morals, then yeah, we would avoid a lot of this problem of having group influence. It starts with how their bringing is what lays the foundation. Because if a child is taught to be principled as to knowing when their no means no and when their yes means yes, then that wouldn't be a problem. Like I mentioned earlier, if we could work on skills, and not really talk much about not sending kids. We mostly forcefully advise people to think, okay, education is the only key to success and whatnot. Of course, we do need education, but then if we can, we as Africans embrace skills, we can embrace talent, then I think, even group influence shouldn't be a problem. Because, if someone is, let's say if my kid loves to sing at a tender age, I should know that, okay, let me send them to a music school. They can, of course, do basic education and whatnot. So if they are surrounded by people with the same skill, the same energy, I think it would cut off on a lot of that. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, social media influencers. So basically, because we have so many adults out there behaving like kids, or rather children, especially rebellious children, that is, for that matter, because we have these they call them beef. They call it beef amongst themselves. So if this person says this about the person that's posted something, so if these elderly people can behave exemplary and, let's say, set a good bar out there to say, okay, this is how a normal human should behave. You can have confidence, but your confidence should not get to your head and brainwash the young generation in thinking that maybe because you're doing fine, it's okay to expose your body. It's okay for you to talk in a certain way to adults and whatnot. And like I mentioned, social media influencers, we have like people who are like 60, 50-year-olds that are behaving like children. So they're in constant wrangles with people who are like in their early 20s, late 20s. So if those people can be a bit more exemplary and let's say focus on what really matters. Let's talk about the education. Let's talk about religion. Let's talk about good morals. What's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Let's talk about building children's self-esteem and confidence. Let's say bring up children with a good way of living where it's acceptable to societies, even away from Africa, not necessarily restricting them to a certain type of dress code, because obviously people have different backgrounds. You might think what's right in my view would be right for the next person, not like that, but then making sure that you don't make the next person uncomfortable in any way.